Well, today is Palm Sunday, the beginning of Holy Week. And what we call Palm Sunday about Jesus' entry into Jerusalem is one of those very significant events that is recorded in all four of the Gospels. As I'll be saying in my sermon today, which I hope you'll be present for or listen to online, each of the four Gospels presents some unique aspects and has their own perspective into what was taking place on Palm Sunday. We tend to remember a conflation or a combined image of Palm Sunday from what we know from all of the Gospels, but each writer has a particular focus. In John's Gospel, we get insight into the significance of this day in chapter 12 and our verse of the day, which is verse 16. And this is after Jesus has come into Jerusalem, and there was a great crowd that took palm branches, and they shouted a couple scriptures in particular. Hosanna, blessed is the one who comes in the name of the Lord, the King of Israel. And Jesus found a young donkey, sat on it, as it is written, do not be afraid, daughter of Zion. Look, your king is coming, sitting on a donkey's colt. And that brings us to the verse of the day. His disciples did not understand these things at first. But when Jesus was glorified, then they remembered that these things had been written of him and had been done to him. My sermon for today and our theme for this brief devotion is sometimes understanding comes later. I think if you think about some of the very important moments in your life, you only look back and realize how important they were with a perspective of time and hindsight and future events. Now, there's some days you can look at and say, okay, this is really significant, like the day you got married, if you're married, or the day you had a child was born or a grandchild was born. But there's other things that lead up to those days where we often don't realize how significant a moment is. It can be, for those of us who are married, looking back at a first date with someone who ends up being the last first date we ever have. For some of us, it could be the decision about which job we accepted or which college acceptance we decided to follow up on and where we went to college, because where you go to college then impacts the whole arc of the rest of your life. And so sometimes understanding comes later. And that was the case with the disciples with Jesus. Even though he told the disciples many things about what was to come and what the future held, it's only after Jesus is glorified, after he's gone through the betrayal, the arrest, the crucifixion, and the resurrection, when the disciples have the full picture of Jesus, that then they understand more fully who he is. I hope you'll be with us throughout this journey of Holy Week as we try to enlarge our understanding of who Jesus is as well.